Next up, we have the founder of Velis Commerce, a blockchain training and consultancy business, director for the Blockchain Institute, and she's the organizer of Chicago's largest blockchain community group, Chicago's Bitcoin and Open Blockchain Meetup. Please welcome Hannah Rosenberg. Hannah? Thank you so much.
I have a microphone?
Can we turn up that mic?
Good morning. Hola. Buenos dias. Can everyone hear me? Cool. There we go. Thank you. I like to pace around, so this is nice. All right. So, how crypto savvy is everyone here, right? We're all crypto fans. I'm wondering, who here owns crypto? Wow, awesome. Who here works in crypto or has some sort of crypto-related business? All right, y'all know your stuff. Excellent. All right, well, what I'm going to talk about today is achieving escape velocity, right? When do we get to escape fiat? When do we get to use cryptocurrency in our day-to-day lives? So we all heard about when moon, right? Everyone's like, when moon? When's the price going to skyrocket? What I like to think about is when coffee. When do I get to buy my morning cup of caffeine with crypto, right? That's what I try and figure out. So I fell in love with Bitcoin back in 2012, and I was living overseas, and I came back to Chicago in 2014, and I have a background as an e-commerce web developer. And so I set up this little business called Velis Commerce. I'm like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to help everyone integrate crypto payments into their existing systems, right? Whether that's, some mom and pop shop down the street, or it's an e-commerce store, right? That's what I'd like to do. So I set that up in 2014 and sat around waiting for a market, right? And I get the occasional, it's picking up a little bit now, right? So I get, the occasional gig here or there, and it's really awesome, and it's work I love to do. But the market just isn't there the way that I wanted it to be, right? The way I expected it to be, the way that I thought it certainly should be, right? Because if you work with payment technology, then you know that crypto is just so much better, right? So the question is, why? Why are people not using this, right? We all know it's better. That's why we're here. So there's a whole bunch of reasons. This is a little diner down the street from my office in Chicago. It is pretty cool. It is the most dinery diner you've ever been to. It's called the Golden House, I think. I highly recommend it. It's awesome, yes. They only take cash there, right? So you go and sit there and you have lunch, and they only take cash. And I sit there and I have my nice salad, and I contemplate, when is this place going to start taking Bitcoin, right? What has to happen before this place accepts crypto? Well, you have to think about, why are they not doing it right now? And there are quite a lot of reasons. First up, I think about our taxes. Now, this is very US-centric, this particular point here, but I think the tax situation for crypto is similar, not only in the US, but I think in Europe as well. So if you're not familiar, it's tax capital gains, right? So crypto is treated like a commodity, which is okay if you're investing in it, like that's fine, but if you want to use it in your day-to-day life, well, you have to know when you bought that Bitcoin, how long you held it for, how much it appreciated or depreciated, and how much it was worth on the day you used it to buy that cup of coffee, right? It's prohibitively tedious. So that's why a lot of people, well, it's a big barrier to e-commerce. Of course, there are people working on apps now to help you calculate all that stuff. And then there's Coin Center. Does everyone know what Coin Center is? I call them Bitcoin's lobbyists. I think they're getting really sick of me sending them emails about when this is going to get fixed. But there are people working on trying to get some exemptions here. But at the moment, it's tedious, and it's quite a pain in the butt. All right, volatility and conversion costs. So businesses sometimes will accept crypto, and they'll get a nice big boost, and a bunch of Bitcoin fanatics show up to their cafe and order croissants and green tea or whatever. And then it dies down, right? And then they're holding this crypto and they're not sure what to do with it, or maybe it goes up and they're happy, or it crashes and they're irritated, right? Because they've lost 20% of their sales for that week because there was a market crash. You also have to convert it, right? There's this problem of where you can't complete that loop, right? They have to pay their suppliers, and their suppliers are expecting fiat. They're not expecting crypto, right? So it's kind of a chicken or the egg problem, right? People don't want to hold it because they can't use it to pay their suppliers, and so they don't accept it, blah, blah, blah. All right, theft and responsibility. This one is really, really huge, right? Most of us in here probably, we know why banks suck, right? We're not big fans of banks, but what banks do for you is they bail you out, right? Losing your debit card is a very, very different scenario than losing your treasure, right? And so when you're holding crypto, all of a sudden you have this pile of digital cash that you have to guard. It's a whole different scenario, and it's frightening, and it's a lot of responsibility. How many of us have had that experience? Maybe if you got into crypto 2016 or earlier and you had some old cell phone, you had like $50 of Bitcoin on there, and you just turned it off and threw it in your dresser drawer, and then 2 years later you're like, oh crap, that's still there, and you turn it back on and you're like, damn, there was $5,000 of digital cash just sitting in my dresser, you know? And you go, oh no, and all of a sudden this wave of like, hits you, and like, I gotta do something about this, you know? And how many of us have like ridiculous, you know, multi-sig schemes with our spouse or someone, you know? And you're like, here, I'm gonna write down this seed and I'll rip it in half and give you that, and you take this. It's just not the best way to do it, right? There's Pamela Morgan wrote a fantastic book about how to manage that stuff, which I'd recommend. But we all have these ridiculous things we do, right? And it's not very great, it's not very user-friendly. This is really daunting for a lot of people. So, which gets us to our next one. Bitcoin is scary, right? It's something new. It doesn't have the stamp of approval of any particular authority, right? And so it's new and different, and so there's just a psychological barrier to people for using it, right? All right, so now we have a pretty good idea of why it's not being used, right? These are the things I hear when I go and, go into some coffee shop and start raving crazily about Bitcoin, and, these are the issues that I run across. All right, so how do we get there? How do we get to the coffee, right? Well, I've spent probably most of my crypto career, right? I've just been like, all right, there's that thing I want up there. I want to do that really awesome thing, and I'm down here, so I'm just going to go, like, I'm a web developer, right? So I'm used to being like, okay, I can just plug this system into that system, and it'll be amazing, it'll work fantastically. And then you get there and you start doing it, and you realize none of the tools that you expected to be there are there, right? All the rungs on the ladder are missing. So I've spent pretty much my entire crypto career where I ended up doing things that I had no intention of doing just because I was building the rungs on the ladder, right? So this is what we got to do to get to when coffee. At the moment, all that shit's missing. So let's go through it. So security, simplicity, examples, and demand. That's what I think we need to work on building to get to coffee. Has everyone seen this comic? It's from that XK something that I can never remember the name of, awesome comic strip. So the scenario is, right, if you're a crypto nerd, if you're a cryptography nerd, you're like, oh, I'll protect my private keys, no problem. I'm just going to add all this fancy encryption. No, it'll be no biggie. I got this. I know how to do it. But then someone can just show up to your house with the $5 wrench and beat you over the head until you unlock your computer. Right? So this is a big concern if you're thinking about holding crypto or doing business in crypto, is you have to protect against this scenario. Now, no one shows up to your house to steal the $1 million that you have in your bank because you can't get to it from your house, right? But you can, in a lot of situations, get to your crypto from your office or from your house. So we're all vulnerable, if you're doing that, to the $5 wrench attack. And this is one thing absolutely has to be solved before we can get there. Thankfully, there are some businesses that are working on that. There's a place called Casa that makes little nodes, and they have this really cool multi-sig setup that they're working on. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work, but the idea would be something like you might have 5 different devices that have different multi-sig functionality, right? So you could keep one in the house, you could put one in your mother's basement, put one in a bank safety deposit box, give one to your lawyer, put one in your friend's house, whatever, right? And you might be able to send $200, $500 from the one in your house, but if you wanted to send that, $100,000, you'd have to go get the one in the bank, right? So I'm really hoping to see this sort of technology happen, because this way you can hold crypto, but no one's going to show up to your house with the $5 wrench if they know they're only getting $200, and they have to go down to the bank to get that $100,000, right? So I'm sincerely hoping this will happen. But that's not all. I organized meetup in Chicago, and I talk to people constantly, and after you get their 5 beers in, everyone's going to tell you that story about the one time they lost their keys, So many people have that story, right? Probably at least half the Bitcoins in existence are just lost forever, right? So this happens a lot. And if we want, that mass adoption, it has to be pretty much impossible to just accidentally lose your money, right? This is not at all user-friendly. And these are people, that are Bitcoin nerds that know what they are doing, and you still manage to lose your funds, right? We are not there yet. This rung on the ladder has not been built. So if you're really good at multi-sig stuff, please go build this. That'd be awesome. All right, simplicity. Here's a lovely stock photo of a handsome young man playing with an app and looking calm and relaxed, like it's all going really, really smoothly. This is not how people actually look when they're using crypto apps, right? So I know we have a big Bitcoin Cash crowd here, but I'm a huge Lightning fan, right? And at my meetup, we had a demo the other day where Jack Mallers came in and demonstrated his point of sale system that he'd made, and so we all got out our Lightning wallets and bought our drinks all evening with Lightning, right? It was a lot of fun, but you're looking through the Lightning apps, and it's like either you have to use a custodial service, or you have limited functionality, or you have to connect it to your existing node, right? Who's going to do that, right? No one's going to sit there and set up a Lightning node and then connect their app to it. Right? We're a long ways off that. So if you're good at usability in tech, please fix this, right? Because we need it to be so simple that people don't even realize they're using some strange new technology, right? They're like, hey, just use this cool app to send me some money, like Venmo or Chase Quick Pay or whatever it is, right? We need simplicity. All right, example. I find example to be the best way to change someone's mind, right? And a lot of us are crypto fanatics, and we like to go around raving about how fantastic crypto is. I'm not sure that always works so well. Sometimes you just make everyone think people in crypto are crazy, which is kind of accurate. But I think what's really, really good is just to be an example, right? If you have a store somewhere or a business and you accept crypto and you manage to just do that and do that well, then that helps people get over how frightening it is, right? Say, oh, it's not backed by the government, it's not backed by a bank, no one's gonna bail me out, but hey, Susan down the street is using it and has been using it for years, and her house hasn't exploded into flames yet, So when we can, I'd encourage you all just to use it and just, you don't have to brag about it, you don't have to go crazy, but just be that example for someone so they can see that you can use this and life continues and it's all good, right? Stability. This one is a big problem for businesses, and I honestly don't know how to fix this. I think this might take a long time, right? If anyone, thank you. If anyone is really, really great at financial instruments and can build some sort of app to just help automatically hedge people's positions, that would be cool. Maybe that would work, right? But this one, unfortunately, I think might wind up taking some time. All right. Demand. So I'm going to tell you the really, really obvious. Anyone watch football and hear those annoying announcers and they're like, well, Joe, I'll tell you, the team that scores the most points today is going to be the team that wins the game. You're like, yeah, no shit. So I'm going to tell you, people will start using crypto when they have a demand for crypto. Shocker. But you'd say, well, what's going to cause this demand, right? When they have some sort of immediate utility for it, right? We'll think, oh, the next financial crisis, that's going to cause some immediate demand for crypto, right? Does anyone hear about what's going on in Venezuela, right? But please don't wish for that, right? I don't want that to happen. I don't think we're ready yet. I think we need a couple more years before this tech is ready so people can use it without the accidental loss, without a, spur of $5 wrench attacks. I think we need a couple more years. But at international business, I see more and more interesting cases of businesses actually really using this stuff for international commerce. So I think it might really take off there. All right, so I am confident this tech is definitely going to take over at some point, not because of just the monetary theory behind it, right, which probably all of us know, but because I've worked with e-commerce tech, and credit cards are awful, right? I'm sure they were cutting-edge tech for their time, but that was 50 years ago, and they were not made for the internet at all. And so there's just this constant, I could go into the PCI compliance and all that various stuff, but I don't have the time, so I'll just tell you, credit cards really, really suck for the internet. That's why there's so much credit card theft constantly. Crypto solves this problem. Of course, it comes with other problems, but it solves this problem. It is dramatically better tech, which is why I'm convinced this is definitely happening sooner or later. All right, so I think I've about out of time, so I'll wrap it up. But the answer to when coffee is when we finish building all the rungs on the ladder. So I'm working hard at that, and I sincerely hope all of you will join me in building those rungs so we can escape fiat. And these are my various projects, which I'll plug shortly. That's my payments business, and that is the nonprofit that does blockchain education based out of Chicago, and of course, Twitter. So thank you all very much, and I'm sure I'll see you around.
Anarchapulco, it's so hype, I'm trying to tell ya. This the event of the year and best vacation ever. Ron Potter, Jeffrey Tucker, just to name a few. Get your tickets, you don't wanna miss it. You should roll through, talking politics to health and self-improvement to investing. So many things, not one thing. Learn how to live life unchained, yeah. 4 days vibing on the beach, time to connect. All about growth, way more than a conference. This is Anarchapulco, yeah. Let's go.
You ain't seen nothing yet.